Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate you guys coming. And I'm gonna start like the presentation. So it's around like a no 1 hour talk, and then I'll do some demos. Uh, how I how I approach drawing some objects and stuff, and how we can from that also design other things. So also, if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to stop to interrupt me. Like, just you can use your microphone. It's totally fine. So we can, even talk a little. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask. So yeah, so you just let me know. I'll keep an eye on the chat. Sometimes I'll miss it, but I'll try. So yeah, you guys let me know. Okay, I want to share my screen now. Let's see how I do that. Okay. Okay, I guess you're seeing my screen. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're seeing my screen, right? Okay. Cool, thank you. So so yeah, this is like an introduction for like designing props and objects, like how to how to approach it. So it's just an introduction, but I hope you guys can learn something from it. So here I say what I'm gonna do. So I'm not sure if you know, but I did another master class like around 3 months ago. So if you want to check it out. So I designed a walkie-talkie, so I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that. After that, I'm gonna show a bit of difference. How do you design for like what's the difference between a 2D show and a 3D pipeline? And later I'm gonna talk about the design process of my work, the Riddle Detective, which is this one here. So I'm gonna talk how I approached it, everything, and then I'll do the demo. So that's kind of about it. Okay. So yeah, so here talk about previously, like this is a part today is a part two. Yesterday, no, 3 months ago was like a part one. So this is my other class. I talk more about designing with personality. So one complements the other, I would say. So, and if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube. It's on the MTM College YouTube page, so you guys can find them there. And they have a lot of master classes they're doing. They're really cool artists too, so you can learn a lot from it. It's all free. And if you want to find my previous class, it's this one, how to design props and sets that tell a story. So yeah. I'm just going to introduce myself again in case you didn't know me or you wasn't in the previous class. So I am Maíra Valentim. I am born in Brazil, São Paulo, and I am a concept artist and a background painter. I moved to Canada in 2018, and I lived in Vancouver, then I moved to Toronto, and now I live in Montreal. So I I live all in the big cities of Canada. I think it's kind of funny. Anyway, so that's my art journey. I started as studying graphic design because that was the only thing closest to drawing, like to art. And yeah, like things change a little bit now. You have like graduation in animation, but I didn't know, so I did graphic design. I also wanted to do fine arts anyway, but graphic design, that's what I did. So I started working as a intern for companies and stuff. I learned how to use a 3D software that was the 3D Max. 3D Max is very beloved software in Brazil because I think, I don't know, one guy started using this software and then he passed it along to everybody. So a lot of people in Brazil know how to use 3D Max, but it's a little outdated. I mean, after Blender, it's over for me. So it was interesting because I learned how to use the tool, like the 3D tool. So I was like a illustrator, and I worked mostly for the advertising market and the editorial market in Brazil. And I worked in some studios and advertising companies. So around 2015, I became a freelancer and I stayed that way for a while until 2018. That's when I felt a bit stuck in my career. And I decided to take a course in concept art because that's what I really wanted to do. Like, I think since ever, that's what I always wanted to do, but I just didn't know where. So that was the moment that I had to stop everything and rethink. So that's when I came to Canada and I did a 1-year program in Vancouver Film School. And by the end of the program was 2019. After a couple of months, I was able to get a job, and I worked in a studio called Fluffy Dog. It's in Vancouver, and they work with the Neopets franchise. So I worked as a concept artist, and for this, it's a mobile game, so it was pretty cool. And then later on, I got a job in the Atomic Cartoons. That's also in Vancouver. So I worked in 3 projects inside the company. So one of them was Night at the Museum. The other one is Young Love. I worked as a layout background. And then later on, I worked as a CG designer for Spidey and His Amazing Friends. So that's when I became again a concept artist, because on layout, it's a little different. You don't really design things, but I love it uh, anyway. Same. I love to do everything. So it was really cool to work as a layout background. And then now I'm currently as a freelancer. So, and also working on my own stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so if you want to check my portfolio and stuff, you can access my website. I'm also on Instagram. Yeah, come say hi. So basically, that's it for this presentation about me. Here are the last projects that I worked. So just to illustrate, so Night at the Museum, it's also a franchise. It's pretty cool because the other movies are live action, so they decided to do an animation. Young Love, it's on Crave and HBO, and Spidey Amazing Friends is on Disney Plus, so it's pretty nice too. And Neopets you can also download for mobile. So yeah. So previously in my other class, I prompt that I was going to design a walkie-talkie like from the 80s, and the goal was to work with the shape language, exaggeration. So I wrote like a little story here, nothing too deep, but like just to have something to play with. So it was, I named my character Clara, depends how you want to say it. So Clara discovered her love of building at age 10 when she fixed a broken toy. Since then, she's been scavenging parts from junkyards and old electronics to create useful gadgets. So basically, yeah, that's how I came up with the walkie-talkie. I found the references. I gathered the references. I also wanted to keep in the realm of 80s, because you can have very like modern gadgets. So I wanted to be a bit old school. And I like it because it's a simple prop, and it's very boxy. It's not too hard to draw. For especially for a demo that you have to do like fast. And that's the results I came up in the class. I started with the silhouettes, so it's a very nice exercise because everybody can draw silhouettes. You know, they're very simple. They're flat shapes. Um, and then from that, you choose which design speaks to you the best, and you can try a couple of them also. So I like this one here the most because it's simple and kind of cute. I think would fit my character, the character that I was imagining. So I grabbed that. I developed a little bit more, but as you can see, it's very loose, and I think that's the fun part of this exercise because here is not too technical. It's really about the shapes. It's really about letting things flow. And then after you find like the front, the at least a side view, you can like now transform it in a 3D object, like something that would exist. So that's the what I did during the class. After that, I took a bit of time on my own and I just redesigned it just to have a bit more of a pleasant shape. So it was a bit more bulky. So I think this one, it was not transmitting the energy, the shape that I first liked it. So I refined it a little bit, but it's not too much. It's just like refine. And then I finished with the color. So, so yeah, here it's like a final design page. So this is like a rough stage. This is a design rough. This is a color study. I could have left the other color studies too, but I just erased them. I don't know where they are, but I like those colors, so I kept them. Um, and I came up with this design. So like with the final colors and everything. Yeah, so that was the exercise. If you guys want to try it, it's pretty cool. You can try with the same walkie-talkie, or you can try with some other objects. So it's a nice exercise. And so that's when I'm going to talk about what is the difference for designing for a 3D show or a 2D show. So how would it look like a design page if this prop was designed for a CGI animated movie or a 2D animated movie? So this one here is for a 3D pipeline. So basically, you have your design here, right? And then after you have this design, that's when you gonna do the orthographic views or vice versa, you know, you kind of work them together. So it's very important to have those orthographic views in your design. I mean, it's mandatory because first, that's when you start to correct your designs. You see where um, part of it is it's like um, inconstant, you know, like inconsistency. So you find like, oh, okay, this like because it might work in a 3/4 view, but it might not work in a front view, you know, because things get distorted. So when you put your object like that in an orthographic view, that's when you correct your design and you see if it works, you know, if it makes sense. So it's super important. Second thing is because this is going to go to somebody else in the pipeline. Because like when you're in working a production in a show, um, your part in the animation is just like one part. It's just like this, you know, and and that's it. And you do what you have to do, and it goes to somebody else. So that's why, as a designer, as a concept artist, our job is not only to design and, you know, like the fun part, like, yeah, I did the design. You also have to come with like all the explanation. And it can be a little boring sometimes, you know, it depends. Sometimes you have fun with a design page, but let's say that the most fun part is to just draw and that's it. But in a production, you have to finish your design page. So orthographic views, and then you have like a clear 3/4 view. Sometimes you might need more than one drawing. It depends if it's very complex, your prop. Sometimes if the prop has some function, you have to say it in the design page and show it like, oh, it's when it's open, it's going to be like this. When it's closed, it's like this, you know. So there's a lot of drawings that you have to do. And because this is a 3D model, we also have to give reference for the surfacing team, because if you only look this here, like you don't know what's the material of it. Like you can guess, but maybe it's a different show, and maybe let's say it's a bubble gun material instead of plastic, you know. So every show is gonna have their own style, even for shader. So that's why you have to indicate what it is. So here I'm saying it's a hard plastic, like this one here. Um, this one is also, it's also a reference for them, of the material and even of the style, you know, so they know that it's going to have this curvature. So it really helps the modeling team and everybody to understand it, and the art director, of course, like he has to understand what is this. And you also put, when you're rendering your design, you try to put in the most neutral lighting, you know, because your goal here is to just pass information, you know. So if you have like a super hard lighting, you know, like spotlight here and some blue there, you know, it changes the color of the materials and it won't work. So people need to know exactly how it looks like in the most neutral lighting. So let's say that the render is kind of boring, you know. I like it, but you know, it's not like super dramatic lighting, you know, that's what I mean. So yeah, so every little thing you have to point it. Also, if you have logos, stickers, anything written in your prop, you also have to make a separate file in high resolution showing like what is it, you know. This case I just did like I created some lettering, because some shows they won't allow you to have, you know, like General Electricity, you know, like something that is famous for many reasons. So you can design like some logo that doesn't exist. So yeah, so this is a 3D page. Oh, and for last but not less important is the scale. Why scale is very important too is also because of the 3D pipeline, because when the modeler is going to start to model your prop, they need to know how big it is, because when they assemble a scene all together, it has to be, you know, everything in the same scale. So for example, a lot of shows, they actually work with real proportions. So let's say this grill here is like 1 meter 65, 1 meter 70, I don't know. And this prop here is going to be like, I don't know, like 30 centimeter, 20, I don't know. So yeah, they have to model in real, let's say real measures. You know, it helps them, because when they put the lighting, assemble the scene, everything works together. So it's very important. So if there isn't scale, they gonna be like this page is not gonna be approved. They're gonna ask you to put scale. So it's very important to have it. And also you understand better how the prop works, you know, it like I said, it's all information. This is not an illustration. This is a design page. Here I put an example.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
before you go on,
sure.
sorry to interrupt.
No, it's
Hi,
okay.
my name is Manuela.
Hi.
I've been very interested in like knowing how this kind of sheet works. I'm in like I specialize in comics, but I've been also like interested in visual development. And the part, like the confusing part is um, when you don't necessarily have a guide, is what information to add, which you have kind of explained very well here.
Mm,
But some of the things that I'm kind of wondering is, do you have to design it, I'm guessing, in the style of the show that you're working on, or does that part comes after this
Mhm.
this sheet basically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in a production, what happens is that a lot of things are already settled, you know? So when we're doing like personal work, like you can do whatever you want because it's personal work. But in a production, most probably they already have everything settled because this part here, it's not visual development. Like let's say this is like a concept art page, you know. So the visual development, it's a bit before the concept artist because the visual development's more loose and they're actually trying stuff, you know. Like so that's the part you can propose, like, oh, I think this shader, you know, like a bubble gun, I don't know, would really work. But then but if you're in a production that the show is established, so no, you have to go with what they usually do. So let's say these are realistic materials, you know. But every show, there are shows that are more stylized, you know. I don't know if that answer your question, but you can ask again if I didn't.
Yeah, no. So basically, yes, you design it on the style that they have already established in the show.
Hmm.
Um, and in that case, how? Because I'm guessing they're giving you references and their own sheets on what shapes and what things makes that style that style. Um,
Hmm.
is there any tricks that you personally use in order to make sure that you are still, on style?
Yeah. Well, what I did, I go through like the past designs that people do, you know. So I look what other artists did, you know. So you kind of like you try to fit in basically, you know, because that's the goal. Like when you're in a production, you have to, you know, fit in. So that's what I was doing all the time. Like I would say how they would present the references, how they would, yeah, I would just scroll to a lot of design pages that other people did that were in the show for a while. And I kind of like try to mimic, you know, sometimes like, oh, someone already did use exactly this reference. You know, you can just go in their design page, grab this image and put in yours. You know, I would do that a lot. And this is not like being lazy, cheating. It's nothing like that because it's actually good, you know, because you have to like things have to be aligned, you know. So it would help me when I see like, oh, the guy already did this tree, so let me grab this tree, you know. Oh, they already did this material, let me grab, you know. So it helps.
That's
Yeah,
great to know. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. And there's another question here from Kate. How much time did you spend creating this prop? So yeah, it was actually, it's pretty fast, you know, like in the demo here, I think I took like an hour and 20 minutes to do this, you know, and then to refine it, let's say 1 more hour just to refine it, you know. Um, and then I don't know here how much time I spent it, but like because I was trying colors, rendering, maybe 1 hour and a half, you know, basically like a page like this, like a half a day or like a day, you know. It can be quick. Um, Also because I already like had the references, you know, it helps. So that's the thing. Uh, yeah, if you put all together, you know, yeah. So yeah, I had the references, I had the story, you know, this makes like the design process really fast. So that's what is interesting. When you have references, you have a story, you know what you have to do. When you actually sit to draw, it's fast. It's not that long, you know. But when you're in the beginning, like, oh, no references, nothing, like in this part here, it takes a bit more, you know. So I already did pre-work before, and then it goes pretty fast. And the design page, it takes a little bit of time too to just organize everything and yeah, the ortho views, they take a bit of time, make sure everything is aligned, you know. But yeah, it's not too long. Okay. So this is just an example from Aurelian Pedra. Really like his work. I love his work. And this is for Ron's Gone Wrong. So as you can see, it's just a fridge, you know. I like that it's so simple, but it's so fun. And he also puts like real, like, that's his reference, you know, it's like this old fridge, very old, ugly, but he makes interesting shapes and he's pointing the materials. Also, like, here is not in his design page, but someone will have to design all those stickers, you know. So it's not in the page, but maybe he asked someone else. I don't know. Okay, so this would be for, supposedly would be for a 2D show, and I chose Steven Universe in this case because it's my favorite show. So, so yeah, how you see like the difference in rendering basically is the same design, it's just a difference in the render. So I try to mimic Steven Universe, and this is not like a design page for a 2D because every 2D project also they're gonna have their own things. And also what happened is with 2D, different from 3D, is that on 3D you do the model, that's it, it's over. In 2D, in then if during the show, okay, so you have let's suppose this is my walkie-talkie. So you have like in those sides here in those views. So if the character is holding like this, you know, for some reason he's holding like this, you're gonna have to draw this pose because you're posing. So in this case, I didn't do any extreme pose, but sometimes in the storyboard, because when we're designing stuff like this, sometimes the storyboard's already done. So they're gonna say, yeah, we're gonna need a special pose for this prop. So it's either you that gonna draw that, either the build artist. Sometimes they also have to do that. So yeah, this is a 2D. It's much simpler as shading, you know, but you have to follow the show what they want, like, you know, like how if it's like a multiply for the shadow, exactly number, exactly color, you know, stuff like that. This is from Steven Universe. I found on the internet. It's not mine. But yeah, as you can see here, they have like the normal poses like front, back, um, front. And here's a little weird, as you can see, it's a weird pose. Maybe they're holding like this because the character is going to hold it. Here another example, like this is like a basic 3/4, but here you have like uh, like a different view. Maybe it's on the top of something because you can't see the top part. So yeah, so this is for Steven Universe. Uh, yeah, I have the book, so I took some photos. You see, it's very simple. The shapes, the line, you know, like it's simple line. It's nothing too crazy. So what makes a good prop design, right? So I think for me, it's those three things. And one of them is like strong drawing skills, you know, which means you know how to draw in perspective. So your drawing exists in a 3D space, even though it's a 2D show, it still exists. So you still can like I said, do all the views of your drawing, and they are consistent, all the views. And and then we have design principles applied. And this is like, I would say that in theory is very easy to understand. Oh, what book? This book here is a Steven Universe book. Yeah, it's just the art book. It's the first one. There are two, so this is the first one. So the design principles, I think, is it's much easier said than done because I study graphic design. So we also learn exactly the same things, but honestly, I think I only understand about design when I start to work as a concept artist, because everything was much more, let's say, um, it was much more on theory, but what is it really apply those principles? So balance, contrast, unity, there are much more. And I talked that also in my previous class. So this is how you're gonna stand out basically with your design. So basically those two things, like strong drawing skills and then good understanding how to apply design in your drawing, and then storytelling. Because if you don't have it, storytelling, it's also boring. It end up being just a drawing. So they are a combination. I would say that when you're beginning, you have to focus more here, you know, because then when you're actually working with the stories and stuff, things just flow better because you're not like so focused on the technique. It's just something that flows better. So those two are really important. So as drawing fundamentals, what does it mean, right? It means many things, but I want to emphasize like the construction of drawing at first, because then you have lighting, you have rendering, you have all those other things and composition, blah blah blah. But I think like as beginning, like this foundation skill here, it's basically this. So it took me a while to understand that everything comes from a box, a cylinder, a sphere, or a pyramid. Um, because, like I said, I worked as a 3D artist in Brazil, and I know how to model things, but if you ask me, please draw for me, I wouldn't know how to draw. So that's when I wanted to understand why it was so hard. And for me, drawing only made sense when I understood that, because I tried, let's say, many times to draw. Yeah, let's just draw because that's what people usually advise. If you want to draw, just draw. But then it wouldn't work. It wouldn't get the result. So when I start to understand this type of fundamentals, that's when things started to flow for me. So even a simple box like this, as you can see, is a rectangle and it's made of a lot of cylinders. So how do you know exactly where this curvature of this line? You can eyeball it, but you want to get it right once you're very used to with drawing. So basically, you have to try to work with the most simple shapes first, and then you can start like to render your design. So yeah, that's very important. And here, that's also again from the Steven Universe art book. So you guys see that I'm not crazy. Because basically saying that Garnet is this character here. And if you look like this, it's a cool drawing. It's not bad. I think it's a nice drawing. I don't think it's bad. But if you're doing for production and you want to keep in the model, you have to work with structure. So they're saying that, no, this is not her hair. Her hair is like this. It's a box. So it's a 3D shape. And then if she's a little bit side view, you're gonna see like you see a clear box, and here you don't see it. You just see a blob shape. So basically they're saying practice with cubes. So it's like a smooshed cube. So yeah, so sometimes we always have to remind Even in the crew of artists, you have to remind them like, oh, this character, that's how you draw them, you know. And then I took more examples from the book. um, I like so how simple those shapes are, because it's basically boxes. As you can see, they're all boxes, but then you have a cylinder, then you have like some sort of half pyramid here. Yeah, and here too. And as you can see, like from a simple drawing, you can actually do location. I am a big fan of location design. I love location design. And you can start from like the most basic shapes like this, like boxes, and from that you start to create your design. So with a simple tool, let's call it a tool, you can actually create environments, which is what a lot of people want to do, because nobody like prop design I feel like is not the most attractive uh, title. You know, people wants to be the character designer or the environment designer, but like you have to start with props and then you go to the environment design, because then you're dealing with so many things at the same time. But if you try to make it the most simple, like even knowing not a lot of drawing, you can do this, you know. So that's what I like about this example. And more, another box, and here's a cylinder, donut. Yeah. Okay, so this is when I start to talk about um, the set design. But if you guys want to ask anything before, I just gonna have some water here. So I'm gonna talk about like how I approached this design. Um, so yeah, so when you're starting, you're starting from zero, from nothing, nothing. And so I first came up with the idea, with the feeling that I wanted to do. So I always wanted to do a character, woman, probably in her like 50s, 60s, kind of like detective noir, because I played some games, read some books, and there's always men as characters, main characters. So I was like, what about a woman detective? You know, I want to see this. Anyway, so that was the feeling I had, and I wanted to do here. Um, and I just want to show again that like even an environment with a lot of objects, you basically start from a box, and it's even called a shoebox, this type of drawing. And it's very good, very useful for production. Like people in production, they love this type of drawing, because if you're designing an environment, they know, you know, where to enter, where are the windows. So it's very nice drawing, type of drawing to have in your portfolio, you know. So yeah, so it's basically a box and full of other boxes inside. Um, I did a 3-point perspective instead of isometric, because I wanted to do like an environment that expands. So usually it's a 3-point perspective, this type of environment. And so yeah, you have the guidelines. It can look like a little scary, but it's not. Like when you get used to with the guides, it's not hard to design in 3-point perspective. So here are some of the references. I end up finding, I think, a blog of a journalist, photographer, journalist. So he would take pictures of a lot of psychologists in their office. And what I love it about it, it's because as you can see, every room, every environment here really reflects a different personality. So I love that, you know. And I wanted to bring a personality to my character, you know. So as you can see, like this guy here is completely different from this guy, you know. Like he even in the photo he's using like sandals, you know, stuff on the floor. Um, some books here. It's not even the bookshelf. You know, he's a very loose guy. It's very, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. Would you choose this therapist?
I was gonna ask,
Oh, yeah.
because sometimes we kind of like the go-to sometimes is like Pinterest to go to look for reference, but sometimes those photos are kind of too curated, and
Mm,
so like they like character, or they like, you know, you're trying to get something that will give you ideas of how to make a space very specific to the character that you're making, or you know,
mhm,
the end that you want. And so where do you find your reference, or how do you go
mm,
about finding reference that are this diverse?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I do use the Google, you know, but then you have to try to dig in. You know, sometimes if I have time, you know, and depends on the subject, I can even go to the library. Here in Canada, it's very accessible. The library, and like for example, I was once designing trees for like a forest, you know, and then like when you Google, it's like so much information. It's like it's so annoying. So I went to the library, you know, and find a book about trees, like Canadian trees, because it was like Canadian environment. So then you have it like fresh information that is not in the Google, you know, that everybody has access. But Google is very, very, let's say, yeah, it's very accessible, you know, it's very quick. So, but yeah, I love when people did more blogs back in time, you know, and sometimes you find it like it was kind of a luck. I found this blog here that has so many characters, you know. But yeah, I also use Pinterest, and it kind of the algorithm, like you write what you need, and the next day the algorithm is gonna give you everything you want. So yeah, you kind of have to balance, you know. But I think try to be as much creative as you can for references, you know. Also, people nowadays they use a lot of YouTube videos to find references. So yeah, I like to watch documentaries about the subject. You know, I like to yeah, on YouTube too. You can find like someone specifically talking about showing. Yeah, nowadays people film environments, cities. You know, so like, oh, I want to go to that city. You know, you can travel, you can Google, you can watch a YouTube video. You know, you can get a book in the library. So stuff like that. Yeah. And Alexandre, hi, nice to meet you. I'm from Brazil. Hello. Yeah, I know there's some people from Brazil here. Thank you so much, you guys. And I understand everything. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you too for being here. So yeah, so I was gathering the references here, and also writing down what I like it, you know, like why I chose this reference. So that's another thing you can do, because you're going to have so many references, you're going to get lost. It is normal, at least for me. I get very lost with the references and overwhelmed. But then I do like notes like, oh, what I like it, you know, there's some certificates here, you know, showing that, you know, she has a title. This one I like it. It's this guy here. It's like an explosion. I know it's like a atomic bomb. I don't know, but it's kind of like interesting for a character. Like, and then you have to think, does my character has this type of uh, you know, interest? You know, like a explosion. I don't know. if it has something with the story, maybe you can put it there as a foreshadowing stuff, in your story. So yeah, I like to see those, to see a lot of references, and it's a moment, very very fun, but you can get lost. um, so this is for my character design, and I'm not a character designer, per se. I like to design more environments, and I didn't want to spend like, wow, so much time in my character, but you still need a character for your environment. So I tried to dig a bit, who is this character, her style, what, like, her pose is, like, her attitude, like, what is that? So here's definitely Pinterest. And I like it, like a big um, jacket. I really like this type of hair. As you can see, I repeated this type of hair in many of my references. Here's a level of render just to remind me, because I'm not gonna do poses for this character. It's not my goal for this, for what I was trying to do. And then after I found, was getting more familiar with my own project, I started to look for mood, and what was, like, again, you grab a lot of references and you try to see what you're repeating in these references. And I felt like also pink, algorithm does that to you. And as you can see, there's I really like this. I really like this. A lot of plants coming, like, even covering the books. Also, I wanted my character to have a library, because she's always consulting her books. It's something very important. So I really like this reference here, where she has so many books. She even needs a stair. And about the lighting, I really like it. Something that I wanted to bring in my environment. It's like, I wanted to have like local lighting, but also, if it was during the day, how this would look like. So outside it's kind of like a overcast day, like a cloudy day. Um, so you have a very neutral lighting coming in, a white lighting, but then you have the warmth of the lamps inside of the environment. So I really like that. So the environment gets really cozy, because my character would, uh, my story, she would receive her clients. She's a detective. She's not a psychologist, but she studies a lot and everything. She has the book, so she does use like psychology knowledge to access their patients, minds. And that's why I added this type of chair here, which is the, oh my god, forgot the name, divan. It's famous as a divan. You lay, and because you're in that position, like laying position, very relaxed, you're able to, your therapist is able to access a more deeper level of your mind. So yeah, so those things that you start to research and find out. So yeah, so that's about the lighting. Let me see, there is a question here. When you do 2D layout work for shows, how much of the set design is given to you in the board show document, and how much do you have to design yourself? Well, the ones that I worked, the two uh, layout positions, so the designs are ready. So basically, they have, let's say it was like, for example, a classroom of a school. So you have the kids and everything. So they're gonna have uh, a drawing, 2D drawing of the, like, let's say, facing the board where the teacher is gonna be, and then you're gonna have a reversed angle showing the classroom. And sometimes you can have like something like this. But for 2D, in my experience, it was like a camera this way and then a camera facing the other way. basically. So it's pretty settled, everything, like I said. I think it might depends on production, but if the production is running correctly, you're gonna have the design. So you don't need to design much when you're layout position. And again, it's good for the speed of the project because if you have to design things, it takes time, design. Like my life as a layout artist was much more rushed than as a designer because as a designer, they give you time to design. As a layout, it's like I want 3 layouts today, 4 layouts today, 5 layouts today. It's like that, it's like it's very fast paced. So design, it's a bit less fast paced. That's the experience I had. So if you have to design things, it's just going to take too much time. So usually the designs are ready. I did have to design a little bit for the Young Love show because it was an environment that was so big that was missing, like buildings and stuff. But it's like you have a library of the show already, so you kind of have to mimic what is it. But yeah, usually you don't design much for a 2D layout position. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so this is for the mood. Also references of objects that I liked it. And then I came with the thumbnails and I did very, very rough because right now I'm just testing ideas, testing, like all those ideas I liked and try to put them together, like how they would work in a space. And there is my character here, as you can see. She's in the character is good for reference because you know how tall it is this room, how low it is, so it's important. So a couple of things are important for scales: character, windows, doors, chairs. They show how big the environment is. So there's a lot of ideas that I like from all of them. I almost would do I almost would do all of them. I really like this one. I just found that was going to be too complicated, too crowded. So I ended up going with this idea here that it was simpler. I changed it later, but I had like the big window as I also had big window here. This one, I like it, but they're too similar. Like the library is the same as the window, same as this, like they occupy same space. So sometimes you have to make an idea bigger than the other, so something stands out. So what I liked about this one is that this nook, like a nook, and it's more about the patient that's gonna sit here and lay. So this is more about that. Here was too much about the character, like, so let's say this is her house, it's not her office. So that's why I end up doing it smaller. And yeah, this one I like it too. So you have the books and you have the window and you have the nook where the character sits. She sits here, and then you have the desk. But you see, it starts to be too much, too many ideas. But anyway, I chose this one, the last idea. So in my case, I did use 3D to do the layout because it was faster and I could already see how everything would work. And yeah, but it's not it's just for speed, you know. And I don't, as you can see, it's only simple shapes, If you learn a little bit about the 3D software, you can do this, pretty quick, So there's not a lot of modeling here. So then I come with the like local colors, It's even like they're even blending in together everything, because this is really like blocking, blocking into the, yeah. So it's quite simple for now, but it starts to get some, it starts to come alive, but it's still not there, of course. Here I show the grid because then I'm drawing with the grid now. I'm not using 3D anymore because it was just for the base. It's a lot of guides, so it's a bit confusing. So sometimes you turn on one, turn off the other, turn on. So it's kind of like that, but a lot of back and forth. So here I'm starting to give a bit more like, life to my environment, but it's still very dull, everything. Yeah, so I'm just like refining designs, refining shapes. So, redoing the, what I say, the plants, it's very rough, the plants, like it's a stage that you're blocking. So you don't need to do anything to finalize to, no. Here is, that's when started to get a bit more interesting. And because I was like, I think was too dull here, and this is like my, this was like the spot, like the important spot of the scene. So I like, oh, maybe the wall is too dark, so I put it a lighter wall. So just refining colors and shapes. There is a bit of lighting now, and a bit of rendering. So you start to put like the materials, like the wood floor. So it starts to get better. And as you can see, I just put something to have it, and then later on, when I had my final image, that's when I really went and like, okay, so now I need to get some time and actually design a portrait. This all take time. Um, but in the end, it's cool, because it's actually a real therapist. Her name is, her last name is Klein, so she's an important psychologist, and this is the other one that is very famous too. And yeah, so yeah, that's when you start to like refine everything, and even the character, as you can see, she's like, whatever, and then I refine her too. So yeah, and you add the lighting, because here there's still no lighting, just a bit on the floor, but still doesn't have the warm lighting. So as you can see, everything's more warm. And also I decided to make the windows, the walls white, so it's not so dark, the environment. So, and there are like small details, like for example, this is too perfect, so maybe you add like a fold, I like she was having some coffee with her client, also as a design thing, the green represents her, because she likes the plants, it's connected to her. And the red, which is it's a complementary color, so it's basically, it's about the client, so the windows, the the sofa here, it's more about the client, so you create this contrast. So yeah, that was it for my project. And here I show a bit like the oh, thank you, Nathan. He sent the claps. And here are like the hidden lines, like line of action that we don't see it. So this is all like, this is something that you think when you're doing, So like, why this chair is just not like maybe just straight to the table, because I'm just gonna turn it a little bit because now it's pointing this direction. And even this guy here, it could be like facing exactly the sofa, but no, I'm just gonna turn a little bit because it points this direction, you know? So here are all the hidden lines. So even the plant points here, even this guy points here. So yeah, this is the busy area, which is the focal point. And as a design, her silhouette, like the most simple shape. So she has like this roundness to her that is applied in the windows, in the lamps, even here in the chair, So even though, so yeah, it's all about her personality, but um, even though it's like for the client, it's her divan, how it would look like, you know. So you can even think for yourself, how would be your divan chair, Would be rounded or more square, more old, more modern, So it gives every one of them gives a different vibe, you know. So yeah, here's the focal point, also known as focal point. Anyway, this is just an example of design. Uh, this is the movie Nimona. It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's also a comic book, really good comic book. I love the comic book. And so like the design work here on those characters, it's amazing. So I think it really represents what I'm trying to do here, like with the shapes and the silhouettes. I think here, shows perfectly because every character has a different clear shape, but you don't really like think about it, when as an audience you don't think about it, you you perceive it unconsciously, so concept artists very they love to do those subliminal messages, into designs because it's all hidden, you know. There's a question here from Alejandra. How do you choose your focal point in this type of design in the box one? Yeah, I had to think, like I said, what is about this room, So I figured it out that the room was about the this relationship that she has with the patient, you know? So if the room is too big, too many of her stuff, it's more about her, you know? If the room, it had like a computer, had a, you know, I don't know, too many things. It's about her work. So I had to remove stuff, So even in the here, I really like this one, you know. In a shoebox, you can also do like a focal point, But sometimes it depends. Like if you're designing for a video game, usually, it might have like nooks, So this is like, okay, this is the client space. This is her space. Oh, this is a fireplace. This is a fireplace, by the way. So you don't create a lot of focal point, but you might create focal points within each space. You know what I mean? Because the character is gonna walk there. They're gonna be like interacting with the stuff. So you create like clear spaces. And this one, it was, since it's a personal project for me, I wanted to create like this room, So for me, the focal point was here. So I put it like more design attention to this part. But like for example, if this was a game, maybe her chair wouldn't be like that, right? Because she's using the chair. So there's a difference between game and animation, because animation, you design the shot. So this type of thinking really, really works, the focal point. For games, it's not exactly, because you might be more focused on many details, like you want to know exactly what is this painting. You want to know because the character might read, it might have a message. So animation is like a frame, and you design for that frame, In the games, it's a little different. But even in a shoebox, I do recommend to try to have a focal point, or have clear spaces, for what you're trying to do, Yeah. Okay, here. Yeah, so I think this is the last page of my presentation. And also, yeah, I just wanted to say that, yeah, thank you, Alejandra, for your question. Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to say that I'll be giving a course, a workshop, 6 weeks. It's going to start on June 5th. It's going to be same time on Thursdays. Yeah, that we're gonna like be able to create this further, but my class, I want to focus more on the drawing fundamentals and design fundamentals. And here has like a rough idea what's going to be each week. So we start with dynamic sketching and basic perspective, because I think how much it is. Oh, there's gonna have a link. I can show you, just a minute. This is with the school, but I'll show you the link. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I started with dynamic sketching and basic perspective. Then we're gonna talk about the design principles and how to apply them to props. Then we're gonna talk about the research, how to collect references, and we're gonna start like this week to talk about like our final project, Also talk about organic elements there. It's very important too. Oh yeah, they already put it here. Thank you. The link. I'll open soon. Um, research and collect references, design of organic elements, tree, bushes, vegetation. So that's very important too. And it's more organic elements. So you can do a design page of trees, of plants. So this all goes into the environment. And on week 5, we're gonna start designing a building, a store, kind of like that I showed from Steven Universe, Yeah. And then last week we're gonna have the feedback and a final review. So, but every week there's homework, because that's how you learn. It's really by practice, There's no other way. There's no other way. And it's interesting because I'm learning French right now, and it's a new language. And I thought it was gonna be a little easier, but it's not, because I do so many silly mistakes. And when we're learning to draw, we're gonna do silly mistakes that that you know. So, but it's within the repetition that things improve, and same learning a new language. So learning how to draw, it's basically learning a tool, in my opinion. It's not like a divine skill that you were chosen to be given. It's just it's really practice. And who should attend? People that are aspiring concept artists, illustrators, animators, if they also want to uh, you know go a bit more to design, and anyone who wants to to learn how to draw and learn more about design and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So it's a demo time right now, and I can just open the link here. So yeah. So I think it's gonna later they'll send the link. But yeah, here is explaining. It's in sale right now, so that's a good thing. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have any question, let me know. I just have to switch my screen because I use the other screen to draw. So just a minute. Okay, so I think now you're guys seeing my other screen. Just gonna put the here. Okay, so that's it's a hard part. It's the demo. But anyway, let's try it. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with drawing, like your level and stuff. So I don't know if you guys want to share. But yeah, I'll just start like very basic stuff so we can like because we have to start from the beginning, always. And yeah, you guys let me know if you have any questions. But when we like learning how to draw, also another thing that I learned, and I like it actually, but it's not a critique or anything, but usually they're gonna teach you like there is a horizontal line and they're gonna talk about 1 point perspective, 2 points, and 3 points, and there's even more than that. And they're gonna say, okay, let's learn 1 point perspective. So you find a vanishing point, and then you just like pull the lines from it. So if it's 1 point perspective, you have a flat shape. I like to start with squares, and basically the flat shape. I mean, you're always gonna see this part flat, like front view, and everything else is gonna come from it, like this. Okay. So yeah, it's good to understand that, you know. But like as a dynamic sketching, this is not very useful. I think it's too many lines, you get stuck. Okay, so let's talk about the 2 point perspective very quickly. So the 2 point perspective, it's basically the same thing, but you're gonna have 2 points instead of one. So there's always you always see this part um, front and the rest is going in perspective. So you have, let's say, 1 point here and you have a second point here. So if you're gonna draw a box, you can start with your, I forgot the name of this in English. Anyway, this line. And then you pull the points like this to the vanishing point. So you're gonna find the other straight line, and then you pull them back to the vanishing point. So it's just a bit more confusing because then you have to remember which goes to each point. Yeah. Then you have a square in perspective. And if you want to draw something else, it's going to be the same thing, you know? Okay. So it's nice. I love to draw in 2 point perspective. I think it's very fun. But like when you're talking about dynamic sketching, this is very gets you stuck, So So basically, what we have to remember is that when we are drawing a box, is that this line here goes to a point there. And this line here is not parallel. It's going also to a point. So they meet somewhere, you know? So if you're gonna draw like freehand, you know, you cannot like, okay, you can start with your line here, this horizontal line. You can pull a line is going somewhere there. And this line here, you don't do parallel and you don't do like going this way, you know. You do that, you know, slightly tilted that you know that somewhere they're gonna meet. And same for the other side. So, okay, this line is going this way, so this line goes a bit this way too. They are gonna meet somewhere. It can be really far, but they will meet. So that's how you eyeball it, you know. Then you have a box in perspective. And so yeah, so basically that's it. So I'm gonna pull some reference here so we can draw a very, very simple shape, very simple object. But you understand this concept a bit better.
Excuse me, Maíra.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning English, so let me see how I
Oh, it's
explain.
okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Like this. How you do like a shoebox in with a 2 points perspective? I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to learning more about scenario, and I have a very difficult to draw the stuff into the walls.
Yeah, so yeah, the shoebox, you know, you can do 2-point perspective. And I think what would help a lot is because here the canvas is too small, you know. And what happened is when you're doing like a shoebox, ideally those points they should be like really out of the canvas, you know. So it helps because the closer those points are from each other, the image is gonna get more distorted. You know, it's like a lenses for photography. You know, so yeah, like photography lenses. So even if you get your phone when you do a yeah, sometimes like when you zoom in, you're flattening a lot of the image. It's like you're using a lenses that are for far, you know. So basically, for the shoebox, it's good if you don't distort so much because otherwise everything's gonna be like, I don't know, it's gonna be like let's say it's like this. Everything's gonna be too distorted, you know, if you're doing like I don't know, your room here, you have it's basically ideally you would have this and be like really far away. A way I do to create points far from the canvas because Photoshop doesn't allow you to draw here. I do like this, you know, with the ruler, and then maybe I can put 1 point here and 1 point. Also, try not to put them same same distance, you know? Try to make one closer to the canvas and the other one a bit further. So now you have it. Also, if it's a shoebox, it should be much higher too. You can test it. So there's this tool here. It's the line tool. I like it because it's like you can pull like this, you know? So you can pull from the points like this. So I think that would help a lot for you to not have such a distorted, you know, environment. And also that's why they do the 3-point perspective, because then you open a bit, you know, like here, if you would have like a 3-point perspective. And then now you can start to design here. So this is horizontal line, so everything here is flat. Yeah, if you want to see more from the front, so you're gonna have to put this line even upper. So let's try this. I think that's too much. You know, I think I'm gonna put this even further, like this. Yeah, now it's a little better. So yeah, so when you have the grid like this, it's much easier to start placing things. So let's suppose it's a room, you know, like simple room. Because if you start to do like fantasy stuff, you always need reference to think about. So just like a room, a bedroom. So you can have your door, so you know how high is your character, and you can do like very rudimentary like this. So that's your character. And okay, so this is their desk. So I like to start from the floor because then I can put it up. And you're following, you know, the grid. So that's why you do the grid, because it helps to remember you, to remind you that it's not this way, you know, it's like it's this way. And okay, so you're gonna have a chair here. So chair. And this is like really just yeah, it's really just how can I say? Yeah, you're just blocking, you know, this is a blocking phase. So that's why there's no design here yet, you know, like later you can come and do like beautiful table, or, you know, or a sofa. But then it's okay, so you have your character, you have a window. So it's not a bedroom anymore. I'm not gonna have a window there. You know that this go this way. So the other wall is here. So the other wall is here. And now you pull like this. You pull it like from here. And you pull it from here, so you know that the other wall it's here. Yeah, like here. So now you have like your shoebox. And just this one is Anyway, okay, here. So now you have like a shoebox, you know, and even if you like gonna have a lot of let's say, you know, that here there's a lot of frames, you know, like my character, you can design them like this, like flat. Like, wow, it's gonna have a lot of frames, super cool. So you have this, it's loose, and then you can warp it in here like that. And also following the perspective, you know? So then you have it, you know? It's really hard to draw that in perspective. So yeah, that's how you do, you know? And then like, okay, there is a TV here. Okay, TV is on the wall. And then you
Thanks
have
so
a,
much.
yeah, helps.
I appreciate it.
Cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, you can go crazy here. Okay, there's a rock here, and there is a no, a rug. Yeah. So that's how you go. But I think the secret is to have those 2 points far. You know, you can even go more, and the more you go far, more flat the image is. So you have to measure. You know, but having them far is the secret, because if you have them like here, it's gonna be a very weird image, you know, it's gonna be weird. Okay. And Sahib said that's an interesting technique to make perspective grid. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's a perspective grid. I also have there's a perspective grid here. This one is like a brush. Yeah, you can also like do stuff like this, you know. There's many ways. Yeah. But I like to do this method at least to find the angle, you know, to find the angle, and then you can come with a better grid. So yeah, so I was gonna draw this thing here. It's pretty simple object, but there's some, let's say that there is some challenges, even in a small object like that. Okay. So it's a very simple shape, you know. It's a box, rectangle basically. But the most basic shape is that. I'm gonna paint red. Okay, so here is, it's just a rectangle, a box, basically. But then there is this bend here, so you're just gonna do this, right? So yeah, it's just to understand. But if we're gonna do like freehand this, you know, how I do it. So I like to start doing those lines, so they always converging somewhere there. And then I try to find this basic rectangular shape. Like this. I think it can be longer. So this is like the basic shape. And we can also find the middle lines. I think it's very helpful. We can even put a different color. Like you find the center line, so you know that this side is it's closer to us. The side is smaller. And I think it's more like here. Yeah. And then you can just like make this a little less visible. And now you can like, you remember that there is this thing here. So, you know, it's going to be this way. And you just transport this measure to the other side. Like this. and I think is a bit too long. So I'm gonna correct that here. So it's more like this. So this is a 2-point perspective, you know, and it's pretty simple. But I'm not like, oh, where is the point? But if you would see where is it, it's pretty far there. This one is a bit closer. So, but it's rounded. So, but first we find the straight lines, you know, because they're easier. And then you just do this, like you just rounded this later, like this. And same here, just rounded. And here is going to be a little. So now this line goes not that in the back, goes a bit less. It's basically it. And so, but we have this shape here. It's cylinders are very challenging. But a cylinder, it fits inside a square usually. That's how I like to draw. So if you have a square like this, you can find the middle points of it, like this. So you find the middle point. So this is straight. This is straight. Then you have like those points here. And what I do, I connect them. That's what I do. It's how I draw cylinders in perspective. But yeah, like this. But when I'm doing here, I already have the middle line, so I'm gonna do my square here. And now I found the middle. And now I'm gonna do freehand. If I want to, like, how I give it the you know, I forgot the name, how to extrude this. That's a 3D term. So basically I do the same here. So you have a sort of a cylinder here and another cylinder here, and you see you can eyeball it those, but like they're all gonna be in the same, they have to follow the same line, you know. So this guy here, it has to be in the same height as the other one. So you can even, there's a lot of guides, you know, that you draw. And even like the guys back in time, like you would say like, oh, you know, not people nowadays, they don't know how to do stuff. It's people before, they did everything. But they also would have a lot of how do you say, I'm thinking in French now and in Portuguese, a bunch of sheets. So yeah, he puts a sheet above another sheet above another, and use that light table, and that's how they draw, you know. So it's a bunch of layers, just like us, you know. So yeah, this is a layer. Like this one I can erase now. I did this so you guys can see the construction, but you can erase this now here too. So it's more clean. But that's the secret, is like everything has to follow the same lines. And here, same thing. If I want to draw so if I want to find this, you know, the best way, I can do a guide like this. They're all in the same. It's like geometry class, you know, applied. I actually had geometry at university. Don't know what for, but like applied, like that is good, you know. when you know like how to find a middle line, how to divide something in 3 parts and 4 parts, stuff like that. Sometimes it's useful here. So yeah, you have it. And for example, this number here, you could do flat because that's a good technique. So you do a flat number. Okay, so you have a flat number, and then you can just like place it. In perspective. And since it's a little smaller, like this, so you have it. And then with this brush, I like to, like let's say, create some shadow, So you can, it's like a marker, type. So yeah, you have it.
May I ask about a very specific object that just gives me tons of grief?
Yeah, sure.
Chairs.
Chairs.
They're the bane of my existence. And I don't
Yeah,
know why it's so difficult.
Yeah, exactly. They are like so simple, but they are difficult because they have a curvature, and it depends on the chair. They have a lot of curvature. I can show you. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Is there any specific model you want?
Um, I feel like the more bare bones the chair is, the more difficult it is for me because the angles, again, between the fact that you have to scale it to a character and then the angle has to be right for the back and the like if it's a full like a sofa or a very armchair kind of, I feel like I can cheat more because they're more bulky and they're more squarish sometimes. But if it's just like, I don't know, a chair in a very that is just the bare bones and it's in a coffee, in a coffee shop or something like that, it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Let's see here. I'm trying to find some reference. Okay. What do you think about? Yeah, I'm looking for French bistro chairs. They have like different. Yeah, even chair like this, it's a pain to draw. It is. What do you think? Something like this? I think it's
Yeah,
nice.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Let's take a look. So what is difficult here? You have this rounded thing, and because when we think about a chair, we're gonna think like this, right? Like, okay, legs and and a place to for your back. But the thing is that a lot of chairs are rounded here, you know, and even the feet, they don't go straight, they go like a bit out on both sides, So that's what makes them like, it's simple, but
Yeah.
it's difficult, right?
It's simple, but those angles are so hard to figure
Yeah,
out.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, you always start with the box. That's the best. I love the box. And yeah, and that's a good exercise to do, like draw boxes in different angles. you know, try to find the back side of them, and then you can draw anything from here, like, yeah, try to draw a lot of boxes, they really help. Okay, so let's think that let's do like the most basic chair right now, because that's just the structure. And even this can be straight. But now we're gonna just erase, and we can find the middle lines, like I told you, because those middle lines are really, really important, because they tell you, like they tell you about curvatures, if you're in the right spot. So it's really important to draw that. Like if you have an eye here, that it's not going to be here. That they're going to have like, they kind of have to have same spacing, so it goes for objects like this. So yeah, we always have to analyze. So you see, they have like, it's rounded here, and here is square. Okay, the feet, they go like this. Yeah, this is the tricky part, because you have curvature here, and then it bends, and then you have some cylinder, and then this goes like this one. They go in the same place, so that's why having a center line, you're not gonna miss it so badly, even here. So yeah. Okay. Let me think. So now we have the reference here, like it's a straight line. So you know that this is bended, so this can go a bit more like this. And then it's going to follow to the other side. And same to the other side. Oh, I think it can be more like this. So yeah. And then you have like this that it's not going to be here. It's going to be more in the back. So you can even like, you can close it like a rectangle, but it's just inclined, and then you can like find the angle here. And I can see that also it goes a bit more like this, like to the outside. So now we can erase this. This part we know is straight, so that's easy. And when it goes back, it's gonna turn like a half cylinder, So I'm seeing a half cylinder here. And this guy can come closer. I'm seeing that also it is kind of gets larger, So yeah, it's a complex chair. So maybe it can go a bit larger. But if it is straight, it helps us to know this back curvature. and this guy sits here. So we start to close the chair a bit. And you can do a straight line. It's gonna meet here. You have the other curvature.
Oh, because there's a lot of chairs with that curvature, and I have never thought of doing it like that. So that gives me a lot of clarity now.
Nice, like a straight line here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like you think how you can construct it from like, because we have the tendency like, okay, let me draw this chair, like, yes, maybe this, you know. And then you like if
Yeah.
if you want to do more precisely, you have to find those angles, you know.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the more, like, the less how do I say this? The more bare bones is the chair, the more complicated it is, because there's more lines and more just structure that you have to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, but definitely there's a lot of structure here that you have to figure it out. It's not it's not simple, so simple as it looks like. Yeah, I do like to draw chairs, to be honest, exactly because they have sometimes the seat is inclined like this. It's a lot of angles.
And there's so many designs of it as well.
Yeah.
Would you say that the amount of for the legs at the back, would you say they're as inclined as the back of the chair? Usually?
You
Or it
mean
depends?
this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the style, yeah, because you're gonna have some chairs. Well, that's why they have chair designers, right? I guess. So yeah, some chairs are gonna be like, I don't know, it's kind of like, yeah, it's so cool. You know, it kind of makes a very relaxed chair like this, you know, like a beach chair, I don't know. But sometimes you might have some chairs are very, very basic that
More
they just,
steep.
yeah, more stiff. They just go a little bit because they need to give this yeah, because this creates more balance, I think, for the person sitting than if it was just a
Just
square, you
straight
know.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, just straight. Yeah, that's why it has a bit of inclination, but yeah, I think it really goes from chair to chair, like design. Even old chairs design are very interesting. Thrones, you know, are very interesting.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
yeah, throne is something interesting to design because, you know, oh, there's a king, a queen, you know, someone that is important. They're gonna use the throne.
Or even the fact that, for example, a lot of Bauhaus artists created chairs that are just now so typical because they're now just IKEA.
Yeah, yeah.
And it used to be like revolutionary at the time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There are, yeah, like everything, like the chair design tells so much about the character or the space, the environment, because if it's like I said, a throne, that's different than a piece of wood to sit, you know, that could be
Yeah.
a chair. So yeah, it is cool to understand history of design, of art by chairs, you know, like those it's very important objects, you know.
Yeah, I feel like this is such an important prop that I've been so frustrated with. Thank you so much for the demo.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you see it's kind of like it, you know, some proportions could improve, but yeah, it's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, definitely I can follow up how you did that, and it helps tons because I'm sure I would have just made it way more complicated
Mm-hmm.
than that and got lost way faster.
Ah, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's good. Glad to help.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. See if there's other questions in the chat. I don't know where is the chat. Mm, well, guys, let me know if there's any questions. I don't know where's the chat. Yeah.
So far on the chat, there's no more questions.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I got lost and I'm
No
afraid of
problem.
closing the whole thing, you know? So I'll do this for now. And then later I'll check what's going on. Okay. So yeah, those are two interesting objects to draw. They like every object has really has a challenge, you know. So I prepared to draw this one that is super simple. And why is nice to draw in such a structured way, you know? I mean, I like it, you know. I like to take pictures of stuff. I see objects when I go someone's house. I like to observe their objects and stuff. I take pictures and then I draw at home. But yeah, when you have something like this, so now, because this is very simple object, now I can show you, let's try a different angle, you know? So let's say that it's on top of something. So we're seeing this part flat, and this part is going like in perspective. So this is the horizontal line, that line that I showed you back there. So if the object is in the uh, same height as your eyes, they're gonna flat this side, and the other side they're gonna go into perspective. So, but even though this is a straight line, this line here is gonna meet the other line somewhere in space. So yeah, we can draw like, let's draw our alarm, I guess. And it's when you have a flat side like this, it's a bit harder to know where the lines they meet. So it's always a bit challenging, but let's say something like this. And I'm gonna just erase this for now. So yeah, so it's easy, like not easy, but remember that we have this inclined here, this inclination. So they meet in the same point. We can even do a bit more just to be more clear. So this point travels and goes to the other point, and then you have like this. It can be a bit longer. It's pretty much done. So now, because it's much easier to draw a curve when you have a straight point, so now we can like draw the curves here. Same here, just a little bit. So now it loses a bit of the mess, you know, like the. So yeah, basically we drew the same thing, and we can find the middle again. And so those are parallels, you know. So this is fine to be parallel. So we find the middle. So now we can like draw the inside part that it has to meet the other side. And then we do the same curvature. And here is, so we have our time. I'm just gonna fix it. And now we can put in perspective here. So yeah, so we have same object, but now just a different angle, you know. So that's how you, like, when you understand the structure, it's so much easier to design, you know, because yeah, because you understood like the basic structure, and it's much easier to replicate the same object, you know, because you created like rules for it, you know. So yeah, so basically that's the same object in just different angle. A little flat, but it's okay. See, it's 8. Um, let me just stop sharing here. Okay, finally found. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm gonna share again because I was like, where is the thing? No. Okay, found it. Okay, let me share again my screen. Okay. Yeah. Now I can see what's going on. Okay, let me find just another reference that could be fun. So yeah, I like to draw, like, you know, I got some stuff here, but like um I like to take pictures and just draw them, you know. So this is who's Brazilian might know this thing here is a carranca. So yeah, it's in my house in Brazil. It's just a phone, old telephones, you know, like, you know, it's a simple shape, you know, it's a rectangle, but then you have like a lot of cylinders here. You can go to museums and take pictures and try to draw them too. This one is fun too. Yeah. Then you can go harder and make like motorcycles, cars. So I'm gonna try to do a demo of this one here because I also think it's a fun object. And then I just want to talk about another one that I think it's fun to show. So yeah. So this is a telephone, old times. And again, you know, it's like you can find the square here, but there are some challenges because you have it's actually like goes more like a pyramid. Then you have a cylinders bended. Then you have um, this thing here, cylinder. It, yeah, it's not that easy, but it is, you know. So yeah, so we can start with the most basic shape here, which is the bottom square. And I like to make this less visible. And then I'll on those center lines, always good to have them. It can go both ways, you know, like this. It can be a bit confusing, so I'll do one. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so first, it's like this part here is pretty flat. So I found this first square. And then it goes like a bit inside. But this part is a bit lower. So it goes a pyramid, but it has different angles. And this part here, there's like maybe like some flat shape here. Okay, so we know that we have to fit a cylinder here. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes you can freehand and adjust later, because this is still a sketch, When you're gonna finalize it, then maybe you can use the tools here, to do it. But I like to freehand stuff. It just feels nice. So yeah, so then you have like this shape here. Then we can also do like if it can do like this. And it goes the other side. So everything has a structure, They have to kind of meet. Okay. So much easier now to do the curve. I'm just gonna put a bit upper because it has like this spacing here. And then you can see the other side, but then it's over. So you can do the other side here. And they connect. For this part here, again, you can freehand. This is really freehand, so it doesn't matter, but you could actually do it perfectly, So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So let's say that it has 10 and it has another cylinder inside here. Now I have to fit 10. Now let's see how much it fits this. Don't need to be perfect for now, it's just a demonstration. Okay, let's say that's it. And you're gonna have the numbers. So you have your flat shape here, you duplicate. And now you can place it here in perspective. So even when you're placing, you're also thinking about, like, you see this angle, same here. So now you have it like a telephone thing. And you could even give a bit of, because you would be seeing from the inside. So now we have this guy here, and I'll create another layer so we can just find the basic shapes too. So it can also be a rectangle, but then it has a cylinder here. and it has another cylinder here. And basically the top is it's rounded. I just don't have an idea. Also, goes a bit. Wait. Because yeah, this thing is too high, you know, doesn't have the space here. So I can just do like this. Yeah, I mean, just it's good enough for now. And this goes, it's gonna go like this. And this is on the other side. Don't really see from the angle I drew. And then you have the cord that you can also do like straight lines. So it comes here. And then you can do them like this. And if you want to give them a bit of extrude, no, I forgot the word that I wanted to say, like to give a, you know, like they're just not a line. You can draw those other points. Yeah.
Like a contour line?
No, yeah, it's not it's not contour. It's like you give I forgot the name. As in Portuguese is espessura, you know.
Like thickness?
Yeah, thickness. Yeah, thickness. Yeah, to give thickness to the. So it's just not like a line, you know. So you give thickness. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, well, it's not like exactly, you know, some proportions need to be revised here, but it's it's pretty much telephone, and then you can do like you can even go like this part is it's like this, and then it has another one, and another one. This part is also like, yeah. So basically that's it for this one. You can and you can use Photoshop marker to just like mark one of actually I'm gonna do it here just to give like a shadow, a small shadow just to get more interesting. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, we have like a couple of objects now.
I have a question. How do you, and maybe this you already approach on the last class, but how do you avoid being a slave to the reference?
Mm. You mean like from this, you mean like how to design now, right?
Yeah, like because I feel like it's something that I struggle with. At some point, I will get so much into this has to be absolutely correct, and it kind of makes it difficult to get free of that reference and try to make shapes more interesting, and and yeah, start to give in more style to whatever you're designing.
Yeah. So that was the part I was gonna start to talk right now. Um, I
Oh,
think,
great.
yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, basically, this is like this type of thing I'm doing. It's good for like learning construction. It's like a exercise. It's like a really exercise. Like you're going to the gym. You know, but you're not like performing your sport. It's going to the gym. So this is gym. Gym work. And I like to do because I think it's fun because you start to draw everything like in perspective. I myself appreciate. But then when you're going to do design work, yeah, that's when you now can like since now you understood the basic shape that's your object, and it's basically and even for this part I like to draw with like thicker lines. I don't like to, for designing I like to draw more loose, very very loose. So you found like the basic shape of your thing. Like you understood your reference, because reference it is important. A lot of like I showed you in that example, the fridge. It's a fridge. There's nothing too much to create, but the shapes are so cool. It's just a fridge, you know. And so yeah, so you have your basic shape now, and it's basically this. Like you try to find the elements that create your object. If it's something more like when you're doing for fantasy, doing stuff that doesn't exist, that's when you have to combine. Like, oh, I'm going to combine this with this. Let's say a alarm chair. So then there's then you just create something new. That's when you combine the reference. But sometimes you're doing like everyday objects for a show or for your project, and then now you can like, okay, so that's the basic. Like you can literally like start to play, even like warping it. So maybe this actually it's gonna be more bulky. um Maybe it's gonna be like larger like this. And then you start to play with shapes, you know. So you have like a idea, you know, like a object you want to do, and then you start to play with shapes. So that's what I do. And I like, for me it's a very fun part, you know. I really like this part. It's a bit less drawing, like you don't need to be perfect, and that's when like silhouettes can be interesting, because now you can really like, you know, play like this, and maybe it's more like this, and you have a button that it's big, and then you have the buttons are here. So yeah, so now you start to play with design, and you kind of know how to construct. So if you were to do now the design of this, you know, it has the front, so you kind of have an idea how that would be, you know. So let's say that is still inclined here, but it has this extra extrude. So it would be more like this. And then it has a big button. Yeah, this is not the most amazing design, but that's how you start, you know. And then you can do many variations for it, like something that is more like this, something more like upper and down. Yeah. So yeah, that's like the base. But I was going to show you another example. Just put everything here. Just find. So I also like to go around the city, take pictures of stuff. I found this motorcycle. I love it. Oh, it's a pink motorcycle. This was in Vancouver actually. It's been a couple of years, and I just love it because I looked at it, it's like, who's the owner of this thing, you know? And you might get, if someone's in Vancouver, might have seen it. And I love this.
That's the cutest thing.
Yeah. So it's like,
And it's with tape.
yeah, it's with tape, you know, and it's kind of old and scratched. And yeah, look.
Yeah, that has a ton of personality.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you think like, I don't know, belongs to a woman, to a man. I don't know. And you might think that they don't care, but they do care about it. There's a safe locker, so they do care about this thing, even though it doesn't look like it. I just love it. Like it's so funny. Yeah, it was super cool. Yeah. Oh, this was me. It was a reference. It was very tiny. It was like a toy in the street. Yeah. So I can try to design this, and I just want to show another one because this is also my favorite. So I found this car in the street, and I don't know why, for some reason, called my attention. And also, I love the textures. It's old, and then there is like a bear here, teddy bear, and look at this. And I don't know, it's like, so it's full of story, you know, like who is the owner of this thing? So I like to do this exercise too, like who is the owner, who you're designing for, and this is the inside. So there's a lot of stickers from Whole Foods. Yeah, like forks and pencils, uh, everything you can find, like measuring tape.
Yeah, that's a whole
And
character.
yeah, it's a character. This he likes Ghibli.
Yeah, is that Totoro?
Yeah, it's Totoro. I have this collection actually. I don't have those two, you see. But yeah, I love it. It's like, who is the owner of this truck? The car. So you can really play with design. I want to go to the side. Yeah, so it's a simple truck, but it's full of stories. So I was gonna grab the the motorcycle, this one. So yeah, so what we can do here is to like try to understand the most basic shapes it has. So it has this shape here, and it goes so it's not like a motorcycle that is like this, like usually it goes like this. And then you have this other shape, and then you have this other shape here. And then you have this shape. And you have this shape. And the wheels that are important. And you have like this engine here. And this part here that let's suppose that it's just a front view. So it's not bended like that. So I'm gonna say something like that. So this is a realistic proportion. So now we can like grab this and start to play, you know, um, like with the proportions, and like I try to make it more cartoony. Oh, you know, um, like smaller wheels. And this guy maybe is bigger, like exaggerate. So you already have like a design that it doesn't look realistic anymore. It's more fun, it's more cute. And yeah, and we can try to design this. Kate said, uh, your master class is incredible. Thank you so much, Kate. Melania, I definitely need help with this. Vehicles are the bane of my existence because of their complexity, but think of all these items and shapes instead of hyper realistic is a game changer. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. It is hard to draw them because they have a lot of like parts in them. Yeah, it's not easy. It requires patience, but yeah, you have like realistic proportions. Now you have like, I don't know, cute, funny, something more that I like to design more for cartoon. So now we can actually get the reference, like the reference here. And we can like play with the, we have proportions and we have like details here. So I'm gonna try to add those proportions to those details that we already have in here. So let's try. On that note, do you have any resource for learning vehicle turnarounds? Who would that fall to in the pipeline? Um, yeah, yeah, usually when they give vehicles to someone, it's usually someone, let's say, more senior or someone that can handle, So usually in the pipeline, they do know like everybody's strength and weaknesses, kind of. So yeah, if you're someone that always drawing vehicles, always drawing, how they say hard surface stuff, so they're gonna give it to you for sure. Instead you ask like, oh, can I try one vehicle one time, please? So yeah, I like to do vehicles too, not too complex, nothing too super mechanical, but yeah, I like to do vehicles because I like to play with the shapes like this. And but yeah, like in my team in Spidey, there was some senior artists that would take like the most important like spaceships, like the most important, because also they would become toys, and the person had a good knowledge of how to create toy design. So he would combine like toy design with design. So yeah. So they kind of do that, but I don't really know a course, but maybe you can try to find some course that is more focused on vehicles and stuff, because then they might be very skilled to know how to draw a tire, for example. Right, like a super complicated tire. It's super hard to draw tires.
Actually, because I am an ex-student of MTM, I graduated 3 years ago,
Nice.
something like that. There is a very good teacher at Max the Mod called Dave, who kind of made us lose all fear of vehicles.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely made us do trucks, cars, all kinds of. Again, I can draw a vehicle, but I cannot draw a chair. I don't know how that works in mine. But yeah, definitely like a plug in there from an ex-student if you're interested in
Nice.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. It's good to know. Yeah, because I'm always trying to learn new things too, It's never over. And sometimes it's nice to get like a course that is very specific for something, because then they might have the shortcuts, for that, basically. Like how to draw a tire, it's super annoying to draw if it's like super has all those things on the tire, like military stuff.
Oh yeah, he actually made us practice tires.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you see. Was it hard?
I feel like the hardest part was mostly fear.
Here.
Because again, you're studying, you're kind of like, okay, I'm kind of getting what perspective is, and then he's like, well, now we're gonna draw a full truck in perspective, and then we're gonna do the truck in action, like what if it was tumbling or falling apart, or just very dynamic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was and once you've done it, and everything is like that with him. Once you've done it, you're like, oh, once you've crossed that that line of I did it. Oh, this
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. I survived. This wasn't as hard.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my first assignment in my school was also a vehicle. I was like, oh my God, how I'm gonna do that? So that's why I have I have good memories from it because yeah, I was able to draw a vehicle, and I couldn't before. Yeah, so it's nice when have the
and
teacher that
and then I will have to draw a chair and be like, oh damn it.
yeah, 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 the chairs. Yeah, because chairs they mix a bit of organic shapes with those more mechanical shapes, man-made shapes. So I think that's why, and all the inclinations and stuff. Um, okay, let me just read. So Khan, the artist, said, "All right, things. I'm mostly a layout and BG painter, but I like designing cute vehicles too." Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Like as a BG painter or layout, you don't design much, but it's fine. You learn to draw things in different angles, so it's fun. And he said they said we only had one assignment in my second year of uni college, and it was so fun for vehicles and props. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like vehicles and props. They are very intimidating, but they're fun. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to at least get some basic shapes here. Um, Following our super electric motorcycle. I would have one of this for sure. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna do more. So yeah, they have like this front, and again, it's easier when you have a straight line. Just bend and has this opening here. I can exaggerate because I want to realistic. As for proportions. So so yeah, this first stage is really just like it's just like proportions, and then later we can draw more details. So we have the center here. And there's many ways to draw the same thing. So it's interesting. You're always finding different ways to draw the same thing. And we have the funny part that is this this broken light that is basically or something like this. And I'm gonna have tape. And even the tape follows the geometry. Okay, Manuela said the name of the MTM teacher in question is Dave Ross, and I'm sure you can find his class in the YouTube. Yeah, and then the workshops posted the YouTube. Yeah, it's really nice. There's a lot of good content there. I watched it too. Other people's class. So I think we can make it bigger. And this part is always tricky. This kind of gets in the middle of the image. For now, just like this. Actually, it goes like this, but it connects. And in the back, we have this big thing. So we can do like always following like always following some imaginative grid in your mind, so this line is the same as, same as this, same as this, same as this. So that's how you can eyeball it faster. So we know that's high, like this. Yeah. Now the tires, that very hard, but I'm gonna also eyeball it. They're basically cylinders. Oh, but actually they are supposed to be very tiny because that's the charm of it. And you can duplicate them, make them show you. They are supposed to be smaller angle actually here. And here they can expand a bit. Because this one is closer, so you see more, and this is more squished. So yeah, some perspective rules that helps. So yeah. And there's something about this design that I like it. There's this thing here. And now do this. and it has this one shape here that goes in the back. So I like it that you can do the pink part, this, and the rest is the black part. It opens here, and it has like this thing here that is also pretty cool. And you can make it bigger here. Yeah. Let's see what else. So yeah, this would be like a basic drawing. Let's see if it would help just a bit to get more the feeling of this one. Because then you can like draw again and try again too. You get the feeling of the prop you wanted, you know. But now we can start to give it like more final lines for it. It's really funny, this thing. I think someone cannot drive with this thing like that. I'm not sure if the cops would allow.
Definitely not fully legal.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe it's just a loophole. Like I do have my light, even though it's not perfect.
Yeah, he does have it. It might work. You know, probably works. Yeah, I think I saw him in the street once. I'm not sure, but I think I saw this guy. It's a guy, not a woman. It was a Asian guy, and he was let me see how I can describe him. He was like stylish, young. You know, he was not the old guy. It was interesting to see. So I think I saw him because I saw a pink motorcycle like this. So I couldn't say if it was exactly the same. Someone that has a pink motorcycle. It was this guy I saw. So very interesting to see it. Like, who actually is this person?
So there's two pink Vespas somewhere.
Yeah,
in Canada.
it's either two pinks or it was the same guy. So yeah, but when I saw, like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh yeah, he had long hair. Yeah, long hair.
Of course.
Asian long hair, kind of like here's, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I saw.
That
Maybe it was him.
that sort of fits the character of
Right?
this.
Right? It does fit, right? So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to be creepy, but sometimes like I'm gonna wait and see until the person arrives. You know, like I want to see who's the owner of this thing.
You wonder who is the owner of this.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
does it fit my imagination?
Yeah. I think it's super interesting. I think for us as storytellers, I think I for me that's how I see fun in life. Like try to guess
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
those things and try to understand people's characters. So I like. And there is this light. Yeah, then you can add those details and you can do the seating more fun. Also, you see the seating is larger here than in the front, so it's gonna occupy more space in the back than in the front. So it's tricky. The seat also has like a curvature here. But you can do design choices, like, oh no, my seat is not doesn't have this curvature. So and then you can find in this phase here. So that that is like, yeah, my design is actually straight. It's more like this. So that's up to you. There's a hole here. And there is this symbol here. So again, I'm just copying the reference right now, but you know, you can take reference of other motorcycles, see how they have those details and combine them. But for now, I'm just doing like the reference. But that's how you design stuff. And I skip all the engine part here. I don't think it's too important, but yeah, maybe there's this fit that is kind of fun to put it. Comes from the back. Yeah, maybe you can put something. If it's like cartoony, you don't need to do a lot of engine. You like try to minimize it because otherwise it's gonna be too crowded. Your your drawing, like your design. So yeah, that's the thing. Design it's really about the message that you wanna create, and sometimes like uh, making simpler is it's better than making too complicated. Like less details and bigger. Like have a bigger statement instead of a bunch of small details. Yeah. So yeah, that will be kind of it. And if it was the design page, so maybe now you would have to draw it, but like other side, so people can see um, how it looks like from the back. Oh, I also forgot to add this thing that connects it. I think I can see better on the other references. Yeah, this thing here, that's what holds it. Ah, it holds in the bottom, so we have to find another solution. And then there's the lettering, those things here are cool, but look, it's pretty simple, like they try to make it the most simple it can be. So there's some lettering here. I think something here. So this thing now, it can't connect down because it's too far, so we just connect in the sides here. Same. So yeah, so now if you would design this, like really design this, then you would have to do maybe the other side of it, So now you have to do same drawing, but like facing the back facing this way here. Like here's the sitting part. Here's gonna be this part here. Now the tire. And now you start to cut it. And the sitting here. And this part here. The reference is in the middle. It might be too big, but I just want to show you like how you would have to design this side. So you can see here, maybe there is the the car plate and this thing, and then this guy would be like right in front of it, so it would be hard to understand. So maybe you have to do like separately, like this part here, the yeah, this guy here. So I think it's pretty much it that I wanted to talk. And if you guys have like any last questions and everything, and you can also reach me on Instagram or email, stuff like that. If you want to talk. But yeah, I hope it was useful. It was fun talking to you. Yeah.
You should put your Instagram on the chat so everybody can follow you and support you.
Sure. Let me find it here.
Thanks so much, Maria.
Yeah, thank you.
I love your masterclass and I learned many things. And I also follow you in Instagram. You give
Oh,
in the beginning the class, and I come here and I look. You have a very amazing uh, art job. Sorry, I'm
no,
learning English, so
no,
if
you're
if
doing great.
thank you. If I speak Portuguese, it's more easy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you so much, Thais. Thank you so much, and thank you for speaking in English. So, like, more the audience, big audience is in English. But yeah, thank you for your effort and thank you for coming.